Another issue I'd like to address my fellow senators, and this deals with counterfeits and the need for the federal government to modernize its approach to information sharing. Counterfeits pose a danger to the health and safety of consumers. They also infringe on U.S. intellectual property rights and unfairly benefit international criminals. This will come as no surprise to anyone. The majority of fake goods come from China and Hong Kong. And the United States, well, we're the biggest loser when it comes to international or intellectual property related crime and activity. Unfortunately, the problems of counterfeits has gotten worse during the pandemic. Americans have increasingly turned to e-commerce to buy goods like personal protective equipment, household products, as well as household cleaners, children's toys, and a lot of other items I won't list. Criminals use the same e-commerce site to sell their bogus goods. These sites give criminals an air of legitimacy and make it harder for law enforcement to catch them. E-commerce sites also let criminals create multiple product listings that can trick consumers into purchasing fake goods. Unfortunately, when there is money to be made, criminals will find out how to profit and do it at the expense of others, even in the event of a global pandemic. However, there is some good news. We have ways of addressing the problem. Last week, I introduced legislation that will give the U.S. Customs and Border Protection more authority to share information with rights holders and other interested parties on suspected counterfeit merchandise. This is an issue I first identified as chairman of the Senate Finance Committee when I investigated counterfeit goods sold online. During this investigation, I discovered that certain U.S. laws prevent Customs and Border Protection from sharing key pieces of information with their private sector partners. As a result, it's harder for Customs and Border Protection and its private sector partners to detect and disrupt counterfeiting networks. If they could work together and the law allowed it, it'd be a lot easier to tackle the problems. To give credit where it's due, Customs and Border Protection has recognized this problem and is taking steps to rectify it through the 21st Century Customs Framework, for short, 21CCF, to improve data sharing capabilities in real time. However, without statutory authority from Congress, in some ways, Customs and Border Protection has one hand tied behind its back. So, my bill will get rid of some of these barriers for the agency. It is one small but very crucial step towards a more secure supply chain. Sharing information is a simple solution that often gets overlooked. However, it can be an effective tool in creating comprehensive strategy against counterfeit activity. So I'm asking my colleagues to join me in making this legislative fix so that we may create a supply chain that addresses a 21st century problem. I suggest the absence of a quorum.